YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. We got November 5th today. We have 9 games on the board. I'm going to give you my picks and leans and whatnot in all of them and kind of walk you through that. Yesterday, you guys know I said it multiple times in the video, the pinned comment that we update with all of the sort of news and things that we're leaning towards and player props that we're considering. I said that too. I was like, I don't like this slate. I'm not going to force anything, and I'm glad we didn't. We did go 1-2 yesterday. Not the best, but again, I'm kind of glad that we didn't force anything because I just didn't have a feel for yesterday's small slate. But we got a decent feel for today's slate, so let's jump right into it, guys. Before we do, I know I say it in every video, and I'm going to say it multiple times in this video, but truly, keep an eye on that pinned comment, because when we do these videos, a lot can change between the time of publishing this video and, you know, injuries and line moves and everything like that. So just keep an eye on that pinned comment. That's where you're going to find my final ticket and what I'm actually rolling with today. When I do these videos, this is kind of my thought process, and, you know, we're walking through the games together, and I'm giving you my lean or what I'm feeling. Obviously, there's some that jump out to me, and I say, hey, I guarantee you that's going to be on the final ticket, but nothing's truly final until I mention that in the pinned comment. And for people asking, oh, when's the pinned comment, you know, final? It's pretty much like right up until game time-ish. You know, if games start at 7 o'clock Eastern, that pinned comment's probably finalized by like 6:15 maybe, but just keep an eye on that. And we have a lot of ads over there as well. We've been killing it with adding player props to the pinned comment, so just keep an eye on that. But let's jump right into today's slate. Starting off, we have San Antonio taking on the Magic here. This is a 3.5 point spread. Spurs are giving Orlando 3.5. The total is 213. I wish this spread was just a little bit more like San Antonio -5, and I'd be all over the Magic if I'm being completely honest. I wish that we were, you know, seeing a number that kind of made me want to play Magic, but I don't know if that 3.5 is going to get it there. I will lean Orlando right off the bat, but, you know, with them being, they have made us a little bit of money this season with these large spreads. But 3.5, I don't know if I can trust Orlando even at home with that sort of that spot. You know what I mean? Like, getting 3.5 points against a Spurs team that can be pretty good and can play pretty good, I don't know if it's enough. So I am going to lean Orlando. Probably not going to put that one in, and it won't be finalized. But what I do like is the over here. So the spread for this one is 213.5, like I said. And my formula, my sheet has this going right around 216, 217. So it's pretty close. It's pretty tight. But I think I'm going to be rolling with the over here. That's definitely a stronger lean than I do have with the spread there. So moving on to the next game, Brooklyn versus Detroit. Brooklyn's laying 10.5 points, and, you know, you should just fade the Pistons. You'd be making money if you're just fading the Pistons this year, but that number to me is just super high. And I know that Brooklyn technically, talent-wise, is one of the best teams in the league, and Detroit is literally one of the worst teams in the league. But for whatever reason, I just can't get myself to trust Brooklyn whatsoever in these spots. Like, I know that they just covered against a good Atlanta team, but to me, they aren't bettable right now, if I'm being honest. Like, I can't go in there being like, oh my God, yeah, no kidding, Brooklyn's gonna have a double-digit win against Detroit, and they probably will, but it's gonna take a lot more to get me there. So keep an eye on the pinned comment. I do lean Brooklyn there. I'm not touching the total here. The total is 210.5, 211 at this point, I think, and my sheet has it going right around that, so I'm not touching that. But Brooklyn 10.5. That might be the play here, but right now I'm not convinced, but we shall see. Keep an eye on that pinned comment, like always. Next up, we have Washington hosting the Grizzlies. I think this is going to be a really good game. I think this is going to be a very, very good game. A lot of question marks out there right now in terms of injuries here. On the Washington side of things, I guess that's even a question mark, but Bertans is out. Kuzma, probable. He's been going back and forth between probable and questionable. And then, as we know, some of these lingering injuries here for Washington, Thomas Bryant and Hachimura out as well. Nothing big on the Memphis side of things. Obviously, Dylan Brooks still out here with a hand. But my lean here is just going to be towards the over. So right now the total is at 221. And I think that that's what I'm leaning towards. Like, I don't know if I could pick a side here. And I think I've seen 220.5 some places. So I might see if we can get that number. But this one I want to lean Washington, but I do think, you know, with Kuzma questionable, Bertans out, I think that Memphis takes this win. So I'm probably going to be sticking away from either side of that, but I do like the over. That has a chance to be on the ticket tonight. Next up, Cleveland, Toronto. Toronto, 5.5-point favorites. And it's tough because I want to be all over Toronto. And in fact, I'm probably going to be all over Toronto here, but the Cavs are, and I can't even say sneaky anymore. The Cavs are just a good against the spread team. And I said that when we first started doing these videos, especially with totals here. I was like, people don't seem to believe that Cleveland can put up 110 plus points. Well, they have been doing that. I know they've had a few games in the 90s here, but Cleveland, coming off a couple wins here against Charlotte and Portland. Wow, Toronto, I can't even remember the last time they lost. I do think that I'm going to be strongly leaning and probably going to play Toronto 5.5, but I don't know if I love it. Like, I think that this Cleveland team can almost cover in any game right now, and the numbers would prove that. So I think that for whatever reason, I'm riding with the home team. My gut says take Toronto, but I will say my gut says take Toronto, but my head says, hey, man, you've been burned by the Cavs before on the other end. So we shall see. I do think I'm going to lean Toronto there, but just based on the fact that I think that they're a way better team. And Cleveland, at some point, you can't cover a game. At some point, you got to play a bad game. And here, traveling to Toronto, in Toronto's house, I like Toronto in this spot. But it's a fine line. Like, I don't think that Toronto blows Cleveland out or anything like that. Like, that 5.5, I think Toronto wins this game by like 7. So it's pretty damn close. But we're gonna be strongly leaning toward Toronto. That'll probably be on the final ticket. Just check the pinned comment. In terms of a total here, the total is super low. The total between these two right now is 204.5. My sheet has them going 206. That's not enough. That my sheet even says it's gonna be a low scoring game. So I don't like to be like, oh well, my sheet says it's gonna be an over. No, that's just too low. The margin's too small there. So I'm sticking away from that one. Next up, probably the game of the night, huh? Everyone's excited for this one. New York Knicks traveling to Milwaukee to face the Bucks. The Bucks open up at 4-point favorites. The total is 217, and the Knicks have been playing good basketball. The Bucks, maybe you could say after a blowout to Detroit, they're starting to turn things around. And actually, no, I didn't mean to say the Knicks are playing good basketball. The Knicks are coming off a couple tough losses. So both of these teams are kind of looking to get it into gear, and to me, this is kind of like that Toronto versus Cleveland game. I might just be rolling with the home team here. I think that Milwaukee has more blowout potential than the Knicks do. Both these teams 4-4 against the spread this year, so no edge there. But I do think Milwaukee has the chance to sort of put New York away. Whereas I think if New York controls the pace of this game, it's going to kind of go back and forth and whatnot, which would be good for them with the +4. But if this was any more than a 4-point spread here, I don't think I'd be taking Milwaukee. Even if it was like 5, I think that I'd be on New York side, but I'm strongly leaning towards Milwaukee here, -4, just depending on some injuries. I know Brook Lopez is doubtful, I believe. They might be getting Drew Holiday back, so that's going to be a huge up. Chris Middleton's out, and then New York, I don't think are worrying about any injuries there, but lean towards Milwaukee. The total here, 217. Both these teams can play really good defense, and honestly do play really good defense, but big time lean towards the over for me. That's going to be one that probably makes its way onto the ticket. Just because I see, again, either way this goes, if the Knicks are controlling the pace, I see them being able to, go back and forth with Milwaukee. But if Milwaukee sets the pace, I think that they start to get a huge lead against the Knicks here, and they can score, 120 themselves or something like that. So strong lean towards the over here. That's more likely to make it on the ticket than Milwaukee -4, but they both have a chance to get there. It's either Milwaukee -4 or less, or nothing for me on the spread side of things, and then over or nothing for me. I'm not touching the under, and I don't think I'm going to touch New York, even though they've been they look like they're about to start, playing good basketball again. Next up is probably my most undecided game here. It's the Clippers versus the Timberwolves, and I'm probably going to be staying away from this. I feel like I don't even know why, but I feel like these teams have played a million times this year. It's probably only the one time that they played, which was, I believe, just a couple days ago. Minnesota won that one. The spread is Minnesota +2.5 at home. So the Clippers are giving them 2.5 as a road team. This one's tough. Like, again, I don't want to force picks just for content. So I'm probably staying away from this one. I really don't have an inkling as to how this game's going to go. So I'm going to be staying away from it. The total is 216. And I see a lot of people saying that this game's going to go over. I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it on YouTube. My sheet says it's going to be a 215 game, so that's 1 point to the under. So I'm just not sticking. Like, both my numbers and Vegas's numbers here are very similar. So I'm kind of up in the air with it. So I'm not going to give you guys a lean either way, because it would be a BS lean. Like, I'm not leaning either way. So why would I do that? Next up is a game that I really like tonight. I don't know if I should like it because you guys know I hate having to bank on double-digit wins, but the Golden State Warriors hosting the New Orleans Pelicans. Golden State's 9.5-point favorites. The total right now is 214. I really like Golden State in this spot, and I don't know if I should. I mean, they've only lost one game. They're 4-3 against the spread. We have made some money on them this year. The Pelicans are a dumpster fire. They might be getting Ingram back this game, right? I think he's questionable. No new injuries for Golden State. I just think that whether Ingram plays or not, I think that this Golden State team at home is going to be like, yeah, no, let's just win. Let's just go and win this. Let's go and win this one. They are just the better team here, and the Pelicans have not looked great. The Pelicans have lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row, and Golden State has obviously only one loss in the entire season. So I'm rolling with the better team here. I hate laying that big number, but that's what I'm rolling with, and I do think Golden State can cover that, so I wouldn't be playing it if I didn't believe it. In terms of a total, 214 seems super, super low, and then I plug in my numbers, and I get a 215 return. So yeah, it's a little weird to see that because like I think that when you think of Golden State, and hell, when you think of the Pelicans of years past and whatnot, you think of an up-tempo type game, not this crazy amount of defense, but I'm sticking away from that total. I think that total's a trap at 214. I could totally see it hitting the over, but I think it might be a trap, so I'm sticking away from it. All right, next up we have a great game here. The Kings hosting the Hornets. Kings open up at 2-point favorites. I think you can get it at 1.5 some places right now. The total is 230.5, which is high, so I'm not going to be touching that, even though these teams are well capable of hitting that over easily. I'm not going to be taking the over here. It's just too high of a number, but it's definitely something to consider for some player props and stuff like that. We do have a player prop in this game, so we'll give you that at the end of the video, but keep an eye on the pinned comment because one little tidbit of here, guys, if you're looking at any sort of, player prop, whether it's assists, points, PRAs, or rebounds alone, like when you have a fast-paced game, there's a lot more possessions to be able to look at here. So this is the type of game where you can eat up some player props for sure. So keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we add any. I know one as of right now that we'll give you at the end of the video. But here, I mean, I lean Sacramento because they're at home. And, I could see them winning by 5+. They're only 2-point favorites, 1.5 in some books. So I lean Sacramento, but I don't know if I'm going to take this. I don't like betting against Charlotte right now. Like Charlotte to me, and I've said it in videos, like up until, I don't know, a couple days ago, Charlotte's been a very good against the spread team. So I am going to probably fade this game and just, watch it and enjoy it as an NBA fan. But player props will be involved in this game, and we have at least one that I already have locked in. So keep an eye on that, and, let me know what you guys think of this game in the comments down below too, I guess. Here's one that I love. Last game of the night, we have the Pacers traveling to Portland to take on the Trailblazers. Portland's 4.5-point favorites. The total is 223.5. I really, 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 really like Portland in this spot. Now, I know Portland burned us last time Lee took them. They were the only loss a couple nights ago that we had. They were the ones that prevented us from sweeping the night. But to me, Portland is hungry. Like, they're lost 3 games in a row. They obviously got blown out by Charlotte, but they lost by 10 to Philly. They lost by 3 to Cleveland. Like, this is a hungry team. They're now at home, and they're ready to be like, okay, you know what? Let's lock it in. The Pacers, I feel like, are getting a little bit more respect than they should because they blew out San Antonio, and then they beat New York handily. I think this is a great spot for the the Trailblazers here. -4.5. I would have taken them probably, I'm not going to lie, probably would have taken them up to like -6. Like, and that might be crazy talk, but I really like the Pacers here. I really like the Blazers here. That's a tough one. I might have said Pacers multiple times as I say this, but final pick, final lean, and it's definitely going to make it on its ticket here, on the ticket. It's Portland Trailblazers -4.5, okay? And then in terms of a total, I'm sticking away from that 223.5. I think it's a perfect number, so I could see that going 1 point in either direction, so sticking away from that. But let's move on to some player props here. I got a couple that I already love. I'll mention them here in the video, but again, keep an eye on that pinned comment for any ads as I look into it more or more lines develop here, and what we're finally playing, because these will obviously be on the considering part and the leans section of the comment, but in terms of the final plays, just keep an eye on that pinned comment because that is going to be my final tick here. But starting it off with Harrison Barnes over 18.5 points. Right back to what I said about that Charlotte game against the Kings. There's going to be a lot of points, a lot of possessions, and Harrison Barnes right now, I mean, the fact that Vegas hasn't been throwing up, 19.5 as his total points night in and night out, I just don't get it. So Harrison Barnes for me, 18.5. It is a high number, but he's been shooting a lot and scoring a lot. So give me Harrison Barnes over 18.5 points. Next, we have Derek White from the Spurs over 1.5 threes. We've been on fire with the 3-point make props here. I love picking the spots and looking at the volume. Here's one that fits right in there with the sort of the formula that I'm running with right now, that in the last 3 days has been very successful. Hopefully it continues. But Derek White over 1.5 threes. Next up, same boat here. 3-point makes is Fred VanVleet. Over 2.5. We did hit on him just a couple days ago very easily, so over 2.5 threes from him. And then 2 more here. We do have De'Anthony Melton, which this guy has been shooting the ball, you know, at a decent, you know, I guess, how would I say this? Decent frequency. He hasn't necessarily been making all of his threes, but the 3-point attempts are there for him, and we're looking at over 1.5. So he's got to make 2 of these. He's done it already. So I love De'Anthony Melton over 1.5 threes. And then the last one here, same team. So hopefully Memphis is going to hit some threes tonight. Kyle Anderson, all he has to do is make 1 for 3 for us. Over half of a 3, over 0.5 3-point make. So hopefully that rings true. I mean, Anderson has been, he hasn't been shooting the ball well, so that is a little bit risky, but the fact that you only have to make 1 to cash on this, I do love that. So just a recap of that, we have Harrison Barnes over 18.5, Derek White over 1.5 threes, VanVleet over 2.5 threes, and then Melton over 1.5 threes, and Anderson over a half of a 3. That sounds so weird coming off the tongue, but over 1/2 of a 3. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. Not all of everything that I said in here. Again, I feel like I'm a broken record, but everything that I mentioned in the video doesn't necessarily mean it's making its way into the final ticket. These are my initial gut reactions and thoughts after looking at my numbers and everything like that. So make sure to keep an eye on that pinned comment. Subscribe to the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Let's keep making some money. Pretty successful in the last week compared to, you know, the week prior. So hope you guys winning with me, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.